All right, let's get right into it. We're about to break down what is, without a doubt, one of the most chaotic financial and personal implosions I have ever seen. And you'll see this isn't just a story about spreadsheets and budgets. No, it's a story about communication, resentment, and what happens when those things completely break down, taking a family's entire financial life with them. And boom, it all kicks off with this absolutely jaw-dropping exchange. Right away, Natalie, a 27-year-old mother of four, just owns it. Yeah, she packed her bags and walked out on her husband. She's gone. So the immediate question you have to ask is, why? How on earth did it get to this point?
Now, I want you to just let this number sink in for a second. We're talking about nearly $13,000 a month, and that's after taxes. That's their take-home pay. With that kind of cash flow, you'd think they'd be living the dream, right? Well, they weren't. They were absolutely drowning, and that's the real mystery here. How could they be making so much money and be in so much trouble?
To really understand the financial disaster, you've got to understand the personal one first. See, their separation wasn't just some side drama. It was the A-bomb that set off the entire financial fallout. The two are completely intertwined. So here's the basic setup. You've got Natalie and Justin, married 4 years, 4 little kids. But 2 months before this all went down, Natalie moves out. And get this, she moves her own mom into the house she just left to help Justin take care of their kids. I mean, talk about a complicated dynamic. It's just wild. At the absolute core of this whole thing is a complete, total, catastrophic breakdown in communication. They each have a completely different story about why the marriage fell apart. And that conflict, that inability to get on the same page, is what lit the fuse on the entire financial disaster. And honestly, it's like they were living in two totally different worlds. From Justin's point of view, he felt like he was being treated, in his words, like shit. He said he could never do anything right, that the goalposts were always moving. But from Natalie's side, she saw him as completely passive, totally checked out of the finances and family life. She felt like she'd been begging him for years to step up, but nothing ever stuck. She was just exhausted from having to baby him. And this quote from Natalie, well, it just says it all, doesn't it? She basically reached a point where she felt like talking was useless. She was done. So in her mind, walking out wasn't giving up on communication. It was the only message she had left to send.
But here's the thing, Justin admits he was a huge part of the problem. He just never spoke up, never said how he was feeling. He just bottled it all up inside. And his analogy is just perfect. You have these two people both silently fuming, both just nuclear bombs waiting to go off. And they did.
So, with all that personal chaos simmering in the background, let's switch gears and look at the money. Because this is where the story goes from a pretty intense relationship drama to an absolute full-blown financial catastrophe. The gap between what they earned and what they owed is just staggering.
And this is where you can literally see the relationship problems bleeding directly into their bank accounts. It wasn't one bad decision. It was a complete and total lack of control. Just financial anarchy. They were spending money they didn't have, paying bills whenever, and had absolutely no clue where almost 13 grand a month was actually going.
And when you start digging into the details, man, it is ugly. Check this out. On just one of their credit cards, they had 5 separate late fees just this year. You know, that's not an oops. That's not a mistake. That's a habit of pure neglect. Oh, and it gets so much worse. On top of paying late, their cards were almost always maxed out and over the limit. So think about that. They're getting hit with late fees and over-limit fees and insane interest charges. It's a textbook downward spiral, and it all comes back to the fact that they just weren't talking or even looking at their money.
And the carelessness didn't stop with credit cards. It was happening in their own checking account. $400 on overdraft fees this year alone. I mean, they were literally just giving the bank hundreds of dollars for free simply because they couldn't be bothered to check their balance.
So where did all this debt even come from? Well, pretty much everywhere you can imagine. You had the classic maxed out credit cards, you had personal loans for things they definitely couldn't afford, like travel and a camera, 2 huge car loans. They were even financing their furniture and an alarm system. They were borrowing from all sides to build this lifestyle, all while the real foundation of their life was crumbling. So you add it all up, the credit cards, the personal loans, all that high-interest consumer junk. What's the grand total? Over $46,000. That's the financial mountain they built for themselves, one late fee and one bad decision at a time. Okay, so that's the mess.
It's a big one. How in the world do you even start to fix something this broken? Well, the verdict was simple, and it was strict. No more games. It was time for a complete financial overhaul.
But honestly, this next part is maybe the most shocking piece of the entire story. When you strip away all the nonsense, all the reckless spending, something absolutely incredible happens. Even after they pay for their core survival needs and the minimum on all their debts, they have over $3,000 left over every single month. The money to fix this was there the entire time. They were just setting it on fire.
And that massive surplus? That's their golden ticket out of this mess. But look very closely at step one. It's not pay off debt. It's start couples therapy. Because none of the money stuff matters if they don't fix the communication breakdown that caused it all. The budget is worthless if they can't talk to each other. So first therapy, then lock down the budget, use that extra cash to just attack the debt, and they could be debt-free in just 14 months. And only then can they even think about building a real safety net. And really, that's what this whole story boils down to. It is such a powerful, if painful, reminder that personal finance is almost never just about the numbers on a page. It's about partnership, it's about communication, it's about trust. Which really leaves all of us with a big question to think about. When the relationship itself is broken, can a perfect budget on a spreadsheet ever really be enough to fix the damage?